Good day, how are you doing? Today's talk is going to be looking at prophecy as a way that God talks to his children. And you may or may not have had some interaction with the prophetic in the 21st century. And you may have just your thought concepts about prophecy and the prophetic steeped in the Old Testament prophets or the doom and gloom prophets that we hear and see on Facebook and around our church scene. But prophecy is one of the ways, it's a gift of the Holy Spirit, it's also one of the fivefold gifts, and it's also one of the Roman 12 gifts. So it's a big deal in God's way of actually speaking to his people. And as we learn to operate in the prophetic more, we actually come through a process, and the beginning stages of that process when God talks to us in the prophetic is actually talking to us. So in the beginning stages of a budding prophet, or when you're learning to operate in that gift, the prophecies that come into your head or the things that come into your head is God speaking to you. And that's a good key to sort of use as a measure when you actually start to receive prophetic words for other people. Is this speaking to me, first of all? Because God speaks to us through the prophetic, and he speaks to us through prophetic words that he gives us, which kind of can do your mind in a little bit because you can't quite figure that out. But prophecy is, again, through faith. We receive that gift through faith, and it's listening to the promptings that come into your head and just actually stepping out and speaking the words that come out of your mouth. And if you're in a situation where you're receiving prophetic words from other people, write them down, because we have this knack of forgetting what we've heard, forgetting what people have said to us, and we're on a real buzz at the time when it happens, and then the next day we can't remember the facts. And it also does you well, like we've talked about in previous talks, to actually go over what God has spoken to you. Because I'll let you into another key. When God starts to speak to you, he actually wants you to act on what he's saying. And so many of us just say, that was marvellous, God, I really appreciate you speaking to me. And life just carries on, and we don't actually act on what God has said. So the prophetic is another tool that we can use to actually get to learn how to hear God's voice. And I encourage you to develop that gifting and to seek out some teaching. There's teaching on this channel. You can find, like and subscribe the channel, get yourself connected with the ministry, and we can just share some teachings with you on the prophetic. So the prophetic is really key, and I encourage you, as Paul talks about prophecy in his Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapters 12 and 14, talks all about that gift. And then in Ephesians chapters 4, it talks about the gift of the office of a prophet, which is two quite different things. So start to listen to God, start to just take what you receive, what comes into your spirit, write things down so you can start to develop the way that God speaks to you, because he'll speak to you in a different way that he speaks to me. You have to develop your own way that God talks to you. Prophecy is one of the key ways that he actually talks to us. Be blessed and be a blessing.